Danny Trejo never had to act tough. He lived it. Before Hollywood's go-to villain, he was the real deal. A gang enforcer, a prison-hardened ex-con, and a man who once stood inches from a gas chamber sentence. His face wasn't shaped in a makeup chair. It was carved by the streets of L.A., the corridors of San Quentin, and the bare-knuckle brawls of prison yards. When Trejo landed on the big screen, he wasn't playing a role. He was being himself. Growing up in the 1950s and 60s, Trejo had a talent for trouble and survival. He was deep in the game before his teens, running with gangs, slinging drugs, and collecting debts with ruthless efficiency. Violence wasn't just around him. It was part of him. In an interview with The Guardian, he recalled, "I went to the hole looking at 3 gas chamber offenses. During the 1968 Cinco de Mayo riot at San Quentin, a rock meant for a rival hit a prison lieutenant instead. So we all had crimes punishable by the gas chamber," he said. "And I remember thinking, God, if you exist, everything will unfold as it should. If you're not, I'm fucked." His salvation came through a 12-step program, faith, and an unexpected shot at redemption. After prison, he became a drug counselor, using his own survival as proof that change was possible. Hollywood wasn't in his plans until fate intervened. A producer on Runaway Train, 1985, recognized him from prison and asked if he could train Eric Roberts in boxing. That led to a role as an inmate extra, and just like that, the ex-con became an actor. What followed was an unlikely rise to fame. Trejo's past became his brand. With his tattooed chest, scarred face, and a look that screamed, "Do not mess with me," he became a crime film staple. Directors didn't need auditions. They just needed him to show up. From Heat to Con Air to Breaking Bad, Trejo embodied criminals Hollywood usually had to invent. The difference? His stories were real. Despite his tough image, Trejo never lost his sense of humor. He had no patience for celebrities glorifying thug life. All these rappers rise to fame and then suddenly chase street credibility, he told the Huffington Post. They get caught messing around with machine guns, and it's like, hold on, you're not a thug anymore. You're a businessman. His most iconic role, Machete, the ex-federale in Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse saga, wasn't just a character. It was a mythologized version of himself, a man who went from prison cells to Hollywood marquees. A cancer survivor, restaurateur, and advocate for recovering addicts, Trejo is an icon of resilience and reinvention. I went from armed robbery to starring in movies. Who does that? Danny Trejo does. And he does it with a smirk, a scar, and a story no screenwriter could dream up.